So this weekend we've got UFC 320, and I'm gonna sort of give a preview for that main card of that event. Obviously going to be focusing on the three top fights, of course: Ankalaev v Pereira, Morab v Corey, and Yuri v Khalil. I'm going to talk about those three fights because the other fights aren't really that interesting to me, in my opinion. They might turn out to be good fights, but the guys involved aren't really big names. Of course, yeah, you've got Josh Emmett and you've got Joe Pyfer below, but they're not really the big names on the level of Yuri, Khalil, Morab, Corey, Ank, Pereira, right? So we'll kick it off with Yuri v Khalil. Now, both guys are actually fighters that I'm really big fans of in the light heavyweight division, and part of the reason why that division is so entertaining is because of these two guys being at the top. They're entertaining fighters. Khalil, of course, coming off quite an impressive, dominant, and comfortable win over Jamal Hill. So's Yuri, I believe. Both guys coming off pretty comfortable wins against Jamal Hill. Sort of showing the level that Jamal's at, that they can get cooked so easily by guys like Yuri and Khalil. But nonetheless, Yuri sort of steamrolled Jamal Hill a lot more, whereas Khalil sort of just outpointed him for 5 rounds. So it sort of depends what kind of style of dominance you prefer. Of course, Khalil is the more technically sound in terms of the Muay Thai. His technique's really nice. It's a real distinct style. Not to say that Yuri's not got a distinct style himself, but it's just technically a bit more unpredictable, a bit more wild, which, to be fair, makes him harder to deal with. And it's been one of Yuri's biggest strengths his entire career is his unpredictability and the fact that he doesn't even know what he's going to throw before he throws it. So he's going to throw these crazy spinning elbows, flying knees, wheel kicks, spinning back fists, Superman punches, all of these he's going to throw them. Whereas Khalil is a lot more of a fundamentalist and has a very good grasp of the Muay Thai basics in terms of how to move, in terms of what to throw and how to accomplish what he wants to accomplish in a fight, ultimately winning, dominating and eventually getting the knockout, because Khalil punches and throws everything with bad intentions. I think that's established. Whereas Yuri almost is a bit more free-flowing and that power comes a bit more naturally. It doesn't feel as laboured as it does with Khalil. But I think looking at resumes, it does lend to thinking Yuri's going to win this fight. It'll predominantly be a striking battle, of course. Khalil Roundtree is a striker too. But like I said, Yuri's a bit more free-flowing, and Khalil Roundtree's been beaten multiple times by guys worse than Yuri, right? People will say maybe this is a new version of Khalil. He's got some momentum behind him now, but I'm still not 100% sold on it. But I'm going to go with Yuri to win this fight. I think he'd probably win a decision because it's only a 3-rounder. I mean, to be fair, and this is the thing that I always get with the Khalil fights, because where they're 3-rounders, I almost fancy Khalil over anyone in the division in a 3-rounder. Right, and that's the thing. So if it's a 3-rounder, I could see Khalil landing enough volume in the first 2 rounds, maybe even hurting Yuri a few times to pick up those rounds, and then as long as he survives the 3rd round, he can win that fight. So I do see a path to victory for Khalil, but my instinct wants to tell me Yuri's going to win, so I'm going to go with my instinct and Yuri for the dub, for a decision win. Then the co-main, we've got Morab v Corey. Now, I did make a video about this because there was rumours coming out of Morab's camp that Morab only wants to strike with Corey and doesn't want to wrestle. I think that's just them trolling and them, trying to stir up some headlines. I don't think that's actually going to happen, which is why I think Morab's going to quite easily beat Corey Sandhagen. Of course, Corey Sandhagen, in terms of striking, will be the biggest handful for Morab to deal with because he is dynamic. He does move his feet a lot. He throws volume as well, and he throws a wide variety of shots. Whereas Sean O'Malley, yes, can do the same, but Morab's pressure was suffocating and was used very effectively against Sean in terms of messing up Sean's rhythm and making sure Sean could never really get comfortable. Now, Morab could try and do the same with Corey. He could. But I think Corey's got more weapons to his game as well. I think he'll throw more low leg kicks. But against a wrestler, that is an added risk. Ultimately, it is in Morab's best interest to get this fight to the ground because Morab's not good defensively striking. And Corey Sandhagen is going to have a huge reach advantage. So Morab's defensive striking is essentially just offensive pressure. That's what really all he does. And the only way to beat Merab, it feels like, is to stop him. Because if you can't stop him, Merab is just not going to stop. He's going to continue to throw punches. He's going to continue to shoot, continue to drag you down, and ground and pound you. Ground and pound you, sorry. That's what he's going to do, right? Do I think Corey can stop Merab? No, I don't. In which case, I'm basically saying, do I think Corey can beat Merab? No, he can't. So I'm going to go with Merab to defend his title again, solidifying him ultimately. I mean, at this point, so probably solidifying him as the bantamweight GOAT. If he's not already, he will be after he beats Sandhagen, right? So yeah, Merab victory there. And then we've got the main event, Ankalaev v Pereira 2, the rematch. Now the first fight, despite what a lot of people think, coming out of that fight, it was definitely competitive, right? A lot of people were saying Pereira won, a lot of people were saying Poatan won. Some people think Poatan got robbed. Even upon first watching that fight, I felt Ankalaev done enough to win that fight. I felt he did. His pressure was effective. He was able to land on Pereira. He was able to smother him with the pressure. And just like I said, just make Pereira uncomfortable and force a guy like Pereira who's so good at applying pressure without throwing punches. Ankalaev just wasn't biting. Ankalaev was not letting him get away with the sort of aura farming that he normally does in his fights, right? Whereas guys are so scared to strike with Pereira, they end up, just giving him cage control. Even Khalil got tired, but was giving Pereira, ground to work. And what he does is he applies pressure, waits for you to throw, and because you're tired, you're throwing your punches from a million miles away. He'll step back and then he'll rip shots, and he's a serious power puncher. Ankalaev wasn't biting for that. Ankalaev had the gas tank to go all 5 rounds, apply pressure for all 5 rounds, continue to strike with Pereira for all 5 rounds. Now, Ankalaev's grappling wasn't effective in this fight at all. Well, it depends how you look at it, right? If you think the primary objective of Ankalaev's grappling was purely to land a takedown, then you're probably not seeing the whole picture, because Ankalaev wasn't shooting a takedown. Of course, every wrestler shoots a takedown to get a takedown. But also, you shoot a takedown to switch it up, to show him a different look, to get him thinking about something else, right? Which is something that nobody ever really done to Pereira until Ankalaev did it. Now, Pereira's clearly good enough at anti-wrestling to stay up off the ground, but there's nothing you can do. There are things you can do to stop a guy shooting, and hopefully Pereira can try and make those adjustments in this rematch. But kicks and knees and uppercuts up the middle, shoot stuff up the middle. So if he wants to shoot for a takedown, even now he's going to be second guessing. And then this is how the chess game of MMA is played. You make a move, you adjust. He makes a move, you adjust. That's how it should be at the top level, right? And that's probably how this fight will be. It'll be more top level MMA, 5 rounds in the light heavyweight division. But I struggle to see Pereira effectively making the adjustments necessary to beat Ankalaev in a rematch. Now, rematches are very rarely the same in MMA, in boxing, in combat sports in general. But we'll see. Because ultimately with Pereira, he's a big puncher, so anything can happen. And everyone knows that at this point. If you step in the ring with Pereira, he can stop you. So Ankalaev can be perfect for 4.5 rounds. He can be perfect until the last second, but Pereira only needs 1 punch. Ankalaev is no scrub though. Ankalaev can take a shot. We've seen Ankalaev can throw a shot as well. He's not hugely powerful, but he's got enough to keep guys honest. Guys aren't walking through Magomed Ankalaev's strikes, right? But yeah, I want to go with Ankalaev to win this. Ultimately, I've picked the 3 sort of European guys in this event, and this will be a relatively easy night for the Europeans, in my opinion, where I picked Yuri from the Czech Republic, Merab from Georgia, and Ankalaev from Russia. I'm picking the European boys today. I don't think the Americans / South American in Pereira, they're going to have a lot of joy on UFC 320, but I'd be super curious to know what you guys think of the event. Do you think Pereira can win the world title? Do you think Sandhagen can win the world title? And do you think Khalil could beat Yuri? Be super curious to know what you guys think in the comments below. Another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.